That's really special. I think it would kind of captivate what we're trying to capture, in a sense. And even those guys making it to the championship games, they still got an opportunity to play in this game. And if they both advance, that's even more special. It's very rare. We all want to make it in our own right. And for Jalen to be so young and to put the team on his back and be an MVP caliber player, and then for Patrick to be, growing into his prime and a lot of football left and still doing it consistently on a year in and year out basis. It just says a lot about the people around them, the coaching staffs that they have, the organization, and how much time and effort they put into the game and how much they love it. So, shout out to them dudes, man, because they keep representing for sure.
Those two guys, Jalen first, when he was drafted, they had Carson Wentz and some people criticized
Yeah,
it. A couple years later, he's in the championship game. Are you surprised at all how well he's developed?
not at all. I called it. Even when people were skeptical and said he wasn't a quarterback, he wasn't the quarterback for the future. I'm like, pump your brakes because it's all about development. It's all about who he has around him. I mentioned the coaching staff, and that's where it lies. It's up to the coach to get the most out of the players. When you scout a guy and you looking at a guy, you got to already envision what you're gonna do with him. And so, I had conversations with Nick, and I knew what they was thinking about doing with Jalen, and so it was not even just about that. He still got to go out and be able to execute and have the potential to do it. And I'm like, what more do you want to see? He can run, he can throw. Now package it up and let him go do him.
In terms of Patrick Mahomes, it's the high ankle everybody's talking about. There's no quarterback probably in history that used their legs as much as you, and he's not the same, but he does use his legs to improvise plays. What are you going to be looking for this weekend, and how limited could he be?
And Patrick got that deceptive speed anyway. So he'll lure you to sleep just by thinking he gonna sit in the pocket and not gonna run. And then when he break out and run, a lot of run he had in Tennessee versus Tennessee a couple years back in the championship game, he can do that at times. Now, I know this from playing at a high level and playing against high level competition. Sometimes when you play hurt, you be a little bit more focused in, a little bit more dialed in because you can't really get off script. The timing got to be right. You're seeing things quicker, and so playing hurt is not a bad thing if you know how to do it. Only certain people can do it, and the ones that is listening right now, they know what I'm saying. They can relate. The great ones in the moment. I seen Donovan McNabb go win a game on a broken ankle. Come on, what more should I say? So it can be done, man. You just got to be laser focused, though.
So assuming that he's gonna play means medically he's cleared to play, and it's Chiefs
Yeah.
fans shouldn't be worried.
Yeah, he finished the game last week, and obviously Patrick's not gonna miss this game for the world. It's the playoffs, man. Like I said on Fox a couple of weeks ago, and I think people took my comments about Lamar Jackson the wrong way when I was saying put a brace on it. Like I'm saying it from a standpoint of look at what's going on around you. Like it's a great situation to be in, and if you can't go, you can't go. I get that, but if you can put forth some effort and you can give it a shot, you never know what you're gonna get. That don't mean you got to go out and win the game. You don't have to go out and win it. That's why you got 10 players around you. So you dump it off here, you get a big pass there, big play here and there, nice check. You can win the game with your mind too.
The news came out late last year, and it's relevant to the playoffs right now. But if people aren't familiar what you're doing with Fubo Studios, just fill us in first the details.
Yeah, we producing the evolution of the black quarterback, mobile quarterback in a sense. I feel real good about the project, man. For years, people have always come to me and say I changed the game, and I always like to pay it forward. I feel like it was the ones that came before me who really changed the game. Some of them who got a chance, some of them who didn't. But as a kid growing up, I always, kind of measured myself up to those who was playing the game at the time, whether they got a shot, whether they didn't. Charlie Ward, Andre Ware, Rodney Peete, Cunningham. I'm just like watching, their careers closely, and then, always skeptical. You heard things that could potentially happen, how it could go, the stereotypes or whatever. And then Andy Reid drafted Donovan McNabb in 1999, and it just changed the whole landscape of my train of thought as to where I can make it. So my belief went from here to here, and I think Andy, in a sense, paved the way. Philadelphia Eagles and teams before, even before then. So from Doug Williams to Cunningham. I think a lot of those guys paid it forward. But even for me, man, like the cool part about this whole doc is that I get to highlight the ones I really idolized, and it was John Elway, Steve Young, Cunningham, who made me play the way I played. So this is my game in 2001 versus what they. And so it's a really good storyline, man. Really cool. It's gonna be so inspirational, very uplifting. The NFL is gonna have a heavy presence in it, and rightfully so. We couldn't do it without them.
And I saw you've talked to a lot of, premier quarterbacks for the project. Was there, you mentioned a bunch of guys, was there one guy coming up that young Michael Vick, emulated his game? Who is your guy? Because a lot of people tell you it was you.
Yeah, so my guy was Donovan, right? And I think it was 97, 98 when he first came on the scene at Syracuse. I was like, this is the guy who, like, I love his game. I want to watch him every weekend. And, I grew up a 49ers fan. So when Steve came around, he was left-handed and he could run. I was like, okay, we got something. And then I've always rooted for John Elway. So, and Cunningham as well. But, it was an era where it was kind of like still like up in the air. But, those guys, I took my game after Steve and John. And then when Donovan came around, I'm like, let me just watch closely and see if he get drafted and where he get drafted, because that's me. That's my game. And so when he went with the second pick overall in '99, I was like, yo, this is my guy all the way through. So Donovan know that. I tell him every time I see him.